Hey Leo rising, sun and moon. Happy solar return for my August Leos. I am a July Leo, but I think that August Leos are definitely bright. They definitely burn bright. And so let's get into your August horoscope. So August is going to expose a gap between the image that you project and the truth that you actually carry. This month is definitely where you feel like you're either going to burn out or you're going to get hotter, you're going to fire up, you're going to burn brighter, if that makes sense, right? And so Mars is going to be entering into Libra in your third house. And for you, Leo, this is the house of communication, thinking, trips, short trips, cars, siblings. These are conflicts that can have to do with conversations. These can be power plays. This can show up as frustration. It wants you to act, but asks you that, it makes you think that you have to play polite, and politeness becomes this like resentment, because if you don't say what you mean, it really it fires you up in the inside, right? So expect verbal confrontations with people. Old siblings can come up, and neighborhoods can have drama. There can be pushy energy in your interactions. It's like your mind is definitely running hot, so don't try not to weaponize your words, but also don't try to sugarcoat things either. Definitely take a deep breath. Also, on the 9th, Mars is going to be opposing Saturn in Neptune in Aries. And so this one is definitely core level friction, because Mars is in your natal third house and Neptune and Saturn is in your ninth house of belief systems, values, travel, purpose. And you feel as though you're blocked philosophically, mentally, creatively. Not Mars. Well, yes, Mars wants you to like argue, just to like move your energy around, but Saturn is actually asking you to prove what you believe, Leo. And then Neptune is coming in and asking you, do you know what you even believe? This transit, and this can show up as like when you try to express yourself, your audience isn't listening. You aren't even clear on your message. It's like you have been just pitching ideas, but if you don't practice, then the facade really does collapse. You know what I'm saying? And you've been suppressing a message out of fear. And with that being said, doing things out of fear, eventually you're going to burst. On the 9th, we have the full moon in August. Full moon in August. Full moon in Aquarius happening in your natal seventh house of partnerships, access, contracts. And this is where you like something ends, something definitely clicks for you. I think that something gets exposed in your one-on-one dynamics, even in your marriage partnerships, current lovers. There is a long-standing between tension that comes to a head. Someone's behavior hits the wall of your patience, or you actually start seeing your own pattern clearly for the first time. And this moon pulls you out of your ego and into reflection. It shows you how you've been showing up, how you've been choosing others who don't even see the real you. And it's more of a projection. And no more fairy tales, Leo. Let's just stick to the truth, no more fantasies. And for the 11th of August, Mercury is going to be going direct in your natal first house. Finally, after weeks of like second guessing yourself, your voice becomes a bit more clear again, more sharper. You feel it in your body. You're less hesitant. You have more conviction. And this isn't just about clarity. It's about, reclaiming your self-image, reclaiming your voice that represents your self-image. And people hear you differently now. You hear yourself differently too. Like if you have been like muted, you have been confused, you have been represented in some type of way, you can now speak with this intention. On August 12th, Leo, Venus is going to be conjuncting Jupiter in Cancer in your natal 12th house. This is a realm of the unconscious, unseen, hidden enemies, spiritual insight, also the house of self-sabotage. This can be a blessing and a test for you, honestly, Leo, because you may receive like this deep healing, or this powerful dream even, or this unexpected help behind the scenes where you may over idealize what something or someone that is toxic and overspend emotionally and get caught in a fantasy. It can be either or. You can be receiving help and deep healing, or you may see yourself and you may see yourself in how you have over identified with something toxic, with something emotionally draining, and getting caught in a fantasy, and like your blind spot really is glowing right now. You're either escaping into false comfort or finally surrendering the weight of what you can't carry anymore. And please don't fake peace, because facing what has been sitting underneath the surface is going to do you better than, just pretending, Leo. Don't play pretend. Please don't pretend. So on August 22nd, Sun is going to be entering into Virgo. And this is your ruler. The Sun is your ruler, and it leaves like your sign, right? And it leaves your sign. It goes into your second house of value, of not partnerships, but monies and self-worth. And now this is heating up your mission towards resources. How do you earn? How much do you earn? What are you valuing? Where are you wasting time and energy hoping someone gives you permission to like raise your standards, raise your price? Like this Virgo season is really gonna ask you to clean it all up. I want you to clean it all up and get more into detail, more into paying attention to where you're spending, where you need to save, how, like, plan it out, like have a plan, Leo. And then the new moon in Virgo gives you that push, that reset that you need, that really helps you be honest about what is not working. It is time to redefine your priorities, let go of what's costing you more than it gives you. This is you building something real from the inside out. There's no more performing abundance. This is where you plant for something real. This is happening. The new moon is happening in your second house of possessions, values. And it's really time for you to really reset and get serious about those things, Leo. So Venus is going to be entering into your sign on August 25th. You are glowing up. Venus can attract a lot within your natal first house. You become magnetic, you become radiant, visible, and this isn't just about attraction. This is about embodying you, like embodying who you are, embodying that light. Because you're ruled by the sun, you have this internal light, and that it must be grounded in some type of way and not be filled by ego, or not be drained by others who want to siphon the light from you. You have been doing this internal work, Leo, and now it's time for your external energy to match the inner shift. But it requires you to only stick to what lasts. Only what lasts is going to stick, if that makes sense. If it's only what's grounded is going to last. Only what you stick to and you are aligned with is going to last, because this season is about being seen on your own terms. It's not about just putting things together to have something to put together. It's about aligning with it's about alignment. It's about aligning with what is like in your path, if that makes sense, like aligning to what is real and not what's illusion or not what's ego based. Because the first house is the house of the ego. Sometimes our ego is clouding us and what we actually deserve, and what we actually can make happen in our life. And for you, Leo, that is always a back and forth thing, but now it's asking you to really, you can't keep preaching about what you deserve and what you don't have to live. You can't keep chasing this applause, without knowing who's clapping, without knowing, if anybody's clapping for you. This month is really asking you to call your own bluff and to start really stripping away the extra, the hands, like not the hands, but like the clapping. Like, you don't need people to clap for you. I don't know about you, but as a Leo sun, I do feel as though there's always like an applaud, but it doesn't have to be a physical thing. You can applaud for yourself. You can give your own self a hug. Really, this month hands you a mirror and asks you to speak the truth and end the illusion, and choose a version of you that doesn't seem to have to prove anything to anyone anymore, because real power, Leo, doesn't have to ask to be liked. It just shows up, right? And that's all I have for you, Leo. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye, Leo.